last few years, KSI has managed to stay out of any significant drama or controversy. He's been firing on all cylinders, finding huge success in music, boxing, and business. And unlike many creators who've made it to the level he has, he's continued to post consistently to YouTube. At one point this year, it genuinely seemed like things just couldn't go wrong for him. He delivered a devastating first round knockout to FaZe Temper in front of a sold out crowd in London's OVO Arena. And his drink company Prime Hydration became the first creator-led brand to have a Super Bowl commercial, just after being announced as a new official sports drink of the UFC. JJ was on a massive high, but unfortunately that wasn't going to last much longer. Since his success earlier in the year, KSI has been involved in 3 major controversies. The most recent of these was his knockout win over Joe Fournier in Misfits 007, which was the result of an elbow to the face. After blocking Joe with an overhand right in the second round, JJ followed up with a right hook which narrowly missed, leading to his elbow connecting with Joe's face. Now it's pretty clear this was accidental, and it was actually quite unlucky for KSI, who up until that point was dominating the fight. But ultimately, it was an illegal shot and it needed to be treated as such. But when confronted in the post-fight interview, KSI denied the elbow altogether.
To be fair, some of Joe Fournier's fans believe the punch that knocked him out was actually an elbow that clipped him in the chin. What say you?
Nah, Mo, I hit him with a massive shot and he was dazed. He was scrambling, trying to hold on to me for dear life. I was like, brother, no. It's D-Day. Your soul is mine.
Given he was in the heat of the moment, it's completely plausible that he didn't realize he hit Joe with his elbow, but after the replay was shown, it would have been clear as day. Still, KSI was declared the winner, and his team carried on as if nothing out of the ordinary had happened. In the post-fight press conference, KSI, who is a part owner of Misfits, played it off as if KSI had won the fight legitimately, and responded with hostility to a reporter who suggested otherwise.
Joe wants to go to the commission and have a word with that. Is they going to get anything about that? Or?
But let me just quickly take that. You're a boxing reporter, or what's your background?
Yes,
What's your? I've never seen you at a boxing press conference before. Yeah. So let me ask you a question. What angles you seen?
I can show you.
Yeah, you show me afterwards. But let me. We've answered the question on it.
I like how any questions regarding the elbow, they don't let KSI answer an answer for him. Sad how they try to question this reporter's legitimacy when all you need is eyes to know that it was an elbow. Feel bad for KSI as he was winning, but seriously embarrassing how Misfits and his team tried to act like the elbow hadn't happened. All they had to say was, we need to review the footage and it's up to the commission. It's true, it would have been as simple as that, but the way the situation was handled reflected poorly on both KSI and Misfits. On top of this, in a post-fight interview, Joe claimed that he was threatened by one of KSI's trainers named Alexis.
Furthermore, the terrible sportsmanship from Alexis from London Shoe Fights coming and disrespecting me in the corner when they clearly cheated after that. Embarrassment to the sport of boxing.
What did Alexis say to you?
He was like, oh, you better watch yourself. He was like, I hold all the cards in this game, blah, 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 trying to be like threatening.
There's no way to know if this is true or not, but it does seem like a strange thing to make up given everything else going on. 3 days after the event on May 16th, KSI released a video addressing what happened. He explained that he believes his right hook did hit Joe, but acknowledged that the elbow that followed led to the knockout. However, he didn't address the accusations Joe made against his coach, or the way Misfits and KSI handled the situation. Soon after, the PBA came to a conclusion on an appeal lodged by Joe, and the fight was ruled a no decision, finally putting an end to all the drama. But this isn't the first time KSI and Misfits have found themselves in hot water, and it may not be the last. Just a couple months earlier, KSI went on a tirade on Twitter calling out the YouTuber Wade Plemons, also known as the Wade Concept. Wade is most commonly known for his combat sports content, and more specifically, his coverage of crossover boxing. He regularly posts videos analyzing fighters in the influencer space and giving his take on different fighting styles, matchups, and more. As crossover boxing has grown, so has Wade's reach and popularity, and many consider him to be an integral part of the scene. The team at Misfits certainly did, because they brought him on as one of the main hosts for their events. Everything seemed to be going great for both sides. Misfits benefited from the added professionalism and polish that came with Wade's commentary, and Wade benefited from the exposure and opportunities working for the biggest influencer boxing promotion provided. But on March 20th, 2023, everything came crashing down with a series of tweets from KSI. Man, fuck Wade. This Wade guy plays all sides, trying to please everyone. You are so fake. Fuck you and everything you stand for, you two-faced. This man acts like he knows everything about boxing. He doesn't know shit. You're not that guy. Fuck off. KSI's tweets were in response to a video released by Wade in which he said he thinks KSI vs Jake Paul wouldn't do the numbers that a rematch between Jake Paul and Tommy Fury would.
And we heard from Jake in the Impulsive podcast, he does not think that the KSI fight sells like a Tommy Fury rematch and a Floyd Mayweather fight. And I don't know that I can disagree with him right now. I don't, because they pulled some legitimately crazy numbers. And while I used to be on the train that Jake and KSI did similar numbers, I don't know that that's the case anymore.
This was obviously a contentious opinion since KSI Jake Paul feels like the fight everyone is waiting for, but Wade did back himself up with some data on the pay-per-view buys for KSI's second fight with Logan Paul compared to Jake's fight with Tommy Fury. Regardless, a lot of people still believed that KSI Jake Paul would blow every other fight out of the water, and naturally KSI was one of them, so he didn't take kindly to Wade suggesting otherwise. But his reaction blasting Wade all over social media seemed overblown given what Wade said, so he added this: "To you it's an overreaction, but to me it's a build-up of a lot of things behind the scenes. You can have a public opinion, but don't come to me on a switch up when you see me in person. Sorry for my outburst, but I'm human. I'm gonna get angry sometimes." Things escalated further later that day when KSI's manager Mams Taylor basically fired Wade from Misfits during a Twitter space.
We'll put on a proper bet that shit does way more than Tommy Fury, Jake. 100% guarantee that.
Thing is though, you guys act like I want this to be the case. You're like, yes, Wade wants Jake to do crazy numbers. Has anybody wanted Jake versus KSI more than me? Who has built that fight more?
Anyway, have fun on Kingpin, Wade.
This was a tough listen as Wade tried to defend himself while being backed into a corner by Mams and KSI, only to be fired publicly and humiliated in front of friends and fans. Following this, the community got behind Wade and KSI and Mams received a ton of backlash, so much that just one day after this whole thing started, they issued formal apologies on Twitter. But if you read carefully, it's clear they were only apologizing for how they went about things rather than what they actually said. This became clear in an episode of Side Plus where KSI went into more detail about his problem with Wade.
The reason why I was like he's two-faced is because behind the scenes he's there like, this tag team idea, brilliant, I love it. And then online he's there like, not sure about this, don't think this is a good idea, this, da. I'm like, bro, you 1 minute you're saying you like it to me in private, and publicly you're saying what the public want to hear.
Wade made a video response to this where he addressed everything KSI said, using private messages between him and Mams Taylor to prove he had been transparent about his thoughts on tag team boxing from the very beginning. He came to the conclusion that either KSI was outright lying, or more likely he was being fed misleading information by Mams.
JJ, you either lied or you're getting your information from people you may want to start to look a little closer at, because I don't know what you're saying here, but it's flat out untrue.
Upon seeing Wade's video, KSI picked up the phone and called him, and they talked it all through. After he heard Wade's side of the story, he released a video admitting that he was misled and the whole thing was a big misunderstanding.
You know, beforehand I would always be hearing stuff from Wade through other people. It was never be me talking to him directly. The whole thing has just been a misunderstanding. Wade's a really nice guy, and none of the stuff I said here makes sense for Wade. Like, Wade want what I want, success in the YouTube boxing influencer scene. I just got it twisted. I just heard the wrong things from my sources.
This situation really showed JJ in a bad light, and it was sad to see just how much Wade was hurt by the things that were said. Despite JJ publicly apologizing and inviting Wade back on Misfits, Wade decided to go in a different direction, announcing that he would officially be joining the team at Kingpin. His reasoning was that even though he and JJ had settled their differences, he didn't feel that he was truly welcomed by Misfits management, most likely referring to Mams Taylor. This is a big shame because since his departure, Misfits hasn't felt quite the same. You can imagine that following this, KSI would have been keen to avoid any more drama, but in early April, he got himself embroiled in another controversy. In a video uploaded by the Sidemen where they remade the popular British game show Countdown, JJ used a racial slur while trying to secure points for his team.
Look, we need points in it, alright? I don't mean this maliciously, but the words
It's clear he didn't use the word with any malice, but really he shouldn't have been using it at all. Although what was more surprising than KSI using the slur was the fact that none of the sidemen or their team thought to cut it out of the video. Instead, they posted as normal, and soon enough, the clip of JJ using the slur was everywhere. Within the 24 hours that followed, sidemen removed the video from their channel, breaking a 4-year streak of weekly uploads, and KSI issued yet another apology on Twitter. "I want to apologize for saying a racial slur in a recent sidemen video. There's no excuse no matter the circumstances. I shouldn't have said it and I'm sorry. I've always said to my audience that they shouldn't worship me or put me on a pedestal because I'm human. I'm not perfect. I'm gonna mess up in life, and lately I've been messing up a lot. So I've decided I'm gonna just take a break from social media for a while." This was followed by several more apologies from members of the sidemen, who, as seen from the clip, simply laughed along when KSI used the slur. Within days of this all happening, JJ was filmed at a mosque talking to an imam, who explained to onlookers that JJ was there to educate himself. Reactions to this were mixed, with some people giving him praise for trying to learn from his mistakes, and others calling the whole thing nothing more than a PR stunt. Shortly after, a video was released by the Daily Mail in which KSI made an official statement and apology.
"I want to express my heartfelt regret for what I said, and I want you to know that I am genuinely ashamed and deeply sorry for any pain or suffering I have caused."
Between this, his beef with Wade, and the whole situation with Joe Fournier, KSI's had a rocky few months. He definitely could have handled himself better and avoided a lot of this drama, but inevitably we all make mistakes. The good thing about JJ is he takes responsibility for his screw-ups and tries to make amends. So even though he has lost some fans from all of this, most have chosen to stand by him.